Hi, I'm Dave Foy. I'm one of your hosts through this journey today, but I am also the Vice President of Training Development at the Fixed Ops Mastermind. It's great to be here with you today, Paul.
Thank you, Dave. Always a pleasure to be with you on any platform, my friend. 2020 has certainly changed the way dealers and pretty much most retailers are doing things. And in the car business in particular, where we have a lot of different dealerships located within the same area, there are some that have developed some really new and innovative ideas on how to run their fixed ops departments that could really benefit a lot of different stores. But the reality is, because they're all competitors, nobody will ever see it. How does Fixed Ops Mastermind work around something like that?
Yeah, so the Fixed Ops Mastermind is a group of leaders in the automotive industry, and we meet every Tuesday and discuss new ideas, innovative ideas, and it's all without competition. So these are people from all around the country, from Canada, that come together and just want to help each other to learn, to be better, and to help the industry progress. So there's no worry about the store next door learning exactly what you're doing, because it's just a large group that comes together and in the spirit of cooperation as opposed to competition, to make each other better.
That's a great point, because oftentimes, somebody that's right next to you is going to hold their cards, close to the vest, because they don't want others to learn their secrets, when in reality, there's enough business to go around and everybody could benefit from it. In the dealer world, there's turnover. That seems to be kind of a constant. And quite often, you get somebody that's an advisor that all of a sudden gets tossed into the manager role, and they're not always 100% ready. And the problem is that because they're not always 100% ready, and they're still expected to do the job, there's no mentors to kind of help them when they run into problems. So how does it benefit a dealership to have their employees, their management staff, tune into Fixed Ops Mastermind?
Yeah, it's a great question, Paul. So the one of the things that we do is we take overstressed and undertrained people and bring them into the reality that they can lead a team and excel at the position they're in. As you said, far too often in this business, the person that's next up in line gets the seat, and they're not ready. And so this group is a way for them to get in. They can sit back and listen and just absorb the information. They can get involved if they have an actual problem that they want to talk through, or a situation they want to talk through. The group is there to help. It's a large group of mentors that is not just people inside the dealership. It's people who have spent decades building their careers. Some inside the dealership. We have dealer principals that attend. We have vendors that attend, fixed ops directors, service managers. There is a plethora of different people that, because of that, you get a different view on potential problems and how to handle them. And so it's a great way for people who are either in a leadership position, who have been in a leadership position for years. And typically those are the people who are always out there learning. So this is some things where they can pick up some new things. But also for the people who are new to a management position or a leadership position, it's a great place for them to come and be with people who are excelling and trying to make the industry better.
What's interesting is that I watched a gentleman's post the other day on LinkedIn, and what I saw in that, and this holds true, I think, across the board, is that oftentimes when we are faced with a problem, we might not necessarily see the answer as readily as somebody else does, And having been on many Fixed Ops Mastermind calls, it was always refreshing when somebody would walk through a scenario that they're experiencing in their store, and you would get different points of view from different styles of management as to how they would handle that situation. And the person that asked the question now has at their disposal a handful of different ideas or different ways to approach that problem, or a combination of each one that best fits their stores. So yeah, that's a very good point there, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. And this becomes your network, right? And that is really where great things happen, is through your network. And so the power of the mastermind, not just the Fixed Ops Mastermind, but the mastermind that Napoleon Hill first named, is that one mind and one mind don't equal two. They equal greater than two. And so you get exactly what you were discussing there, which was an opportunity for you to get multiple points of view on one single problem so that you can find the best solution.
Absolutely. And another thing that I've seen over 4+ decades in the business is that the way stores approach training, all right, it seems kind of haphazard at times. And what I mean by that is it's not always convenient to send the manager out of the store to the training facility. And certainly with what we learned through COVID, we're doing a lot more online now. Now, stores are doing record-breaking numbers month over month. And what I find is that, by doing their training, a lot of times as required during store hours, they can't devote full attention to the training. They approach it begrudgingly because they have so many other things going on. And how often are you in the management seat where you've got 4 or 5 different texts coming at you with valid concerns for valid customers that are in the drive now, while you're in the middle of trying to complete your training? Mm-hmm. So the benefit of the Fixed Ops Mastermind kind of works around that, and maybe you could talk about that.
Yeah, so we were virtual before virtual was cool, Paul. We started in June before COVID, and that was the idea, was that we would be able to get this information out to people without interrupting their day. So it's typically at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So 5 o'clock, if you're on the West Coast, you're still either close to getting out of the store or out of the store. And it's the whole group is meant for you to be able to just give your attention to the group, to what's going on, what's being said, the subject matter experts that are there. And it's like having a 20 group without the travel and the cost associated with it. That's really what you have with the mastermind every single week.
No, that brings me to another point, is that hiring a trainer is an investment. It's an investment that unfortunately not enough stores want to partake in. And of the ones that do, the cost to bring in a trainer per day plus the expenses is typically very high. It's in the thousands of dollars. Okay. And while that trainer is there, and oftentimes for the next few weeks, everybody's doing great. They're following what they learned, they're executing, but then something magical happens. It seems that all of what they invested their money in as a dealership and training, it seems to slack off, and they tend to go back to their old ways. So the dealership has spent a lot of money, but it's not necessarily a long-term success because there's no long-term follow-up without really spending a lot of money. So the benefit of the Fixed Ops Mastermind,
is continuing that education, continuing that training, continuing to be able to meet with other peers that can help you and can give you additional ways to make that training stick at your dealership without the crazy costs of a trainer coming back into your store again.
and when you think about it, if you hire a trainer, if you're lucky, you get them quarterly, if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
More oftentimes, if you get it at all, it's either once or twice a year, compared to 52 weeks
Exactly.
of all of this knowledge, decades upon decades of knowledge.
Yeah. And the as I said before, the network that you build from being in this group, the people who you now have their knowledge at your disposal to draw on when you need it.
Yeah, you become friends. You can pick up the phone, have somebody or several somebodies that you can call on outside of the weekly meetings.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Dave. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul.